Hear that sound? Staccato, zit, zit, with syllable variations, put together with a rather gravel-type gargle sound. And this bird is an Australian warbler called the white-browed scrubwren. Scrubwrens because they live mostly in the scrub underneath the tree canopy. Here is a little bird that's preening itself at about 2.5 metres, and another a little bit higher. This is 4 metres. Between 4 metres and the ground, this is where the scrubwrens can be found. They glean for insects on the shrubs, but most of their feeding is done on the ground. They are insectivorous. There are 7 scrubwrens in Australia, all warblers, and though they don't have the magical warble of the Northern Hemisphere equivalent, they are special little birds of the Australian bush. Their activity is amazing, always on the go. I've never seen a scrubwren having a resting roost. Just look at this little male white-browed scrubwren, so active, looking for insects and other invertebrate treats that hide under the leaves on the ground litter. The reason I say this is a male is that white eyebrow. It's rather wide. This is the supercilium, and in the female it is narrow. Did you notice that he just picked up some seed? These birds are mostly insectivorous, but they will eat opportunistically. The Australian warblers form the family Acanthozidae. Acanthozidae includes not only the scrubwrens, but also the thornbills and the gerygones. And the commonality with all the Acanthozidae is the call. It's grating with a zit, zit. The white-browed scrubwren is the first bird that we're going to look at. This scrubwren, like most, inhabits coastal areas. Its habitat is forest with understory, from the ocean up into the coastal divide. So the white-browed scrubwren is occasionally in the tree-lined estuaries of the coast. In contrast, the other scrubwrens that we're going to look at today prefer the high altitude of the divide. As scrubwrens live in dark places, it's difficult to get videography, so what we have done here is to utilise a water point in the Wattigan forest where the birds come to drink. Here is what we are after. Look at this, a beautiful little family of scrubwrens. Mum, Dad and 2 juveniles. Separating the sexes isn't always easy. The male has a larger white brow and a darker face. The female has less contrast, with the brow being narrower and not as white, and the face more grey. The juveniles even have less contrast than the female, and often a yellow gape. Look at the movement. It is stop, go, very staccato, and this feature goes through all the Acanthozidae. Water points are invaluable to observe the scrubwrens, for they are always drinking and do like having a bath. In addition, their natural habitat is usually along riparian ways, for it is in these damp areas where there is water that insects breed and larvae develop. Well, the family that we have been observing has moved, and up in this area in the mountains there is a natural pool in an old logging area. And once again, here we find the white-browed scrubwren, the male on the left, the female to the right. Again, this time at the beginning of the coastal divide in a sunlit area. The male and the female are both at this pool. Now here, one of the scrubwrens has caught a small spider. They eat not only insects, but also arachnids. But the young one isn't interested. Whoa, watch this, a fishing scrubwren. Look, he's caught a tadpole. Another pair. The female has found an insect larva. The male kept on having a bath. The female moves to another location to eat the larvae, as mostly happens, with a catch that can't be eaten in one swallow. Once she knows there is one larva, she also suspects that there may be more, for that's the way insect eggs are laid, in groups. So she is back, moving bark, rummaging around, trying to find a little bit more food. Oh, now here's the male. He must have heard that there are larvae about. At this watering point, honeyeaters were coming in to drink, and here you can see a yellow tufted bird in the foreground. It's a little bit blurred. The scrubwren keeps a good eye on them, for he is wary of larger birds. The female back again, once again moving the bark, looking for another larvae, while the male companion just has a lazy swim. Here is an example of dimorphism, where the male and the female can be differentiated fairly easily. I always used to think of scrubwrens as just taking surface insects. Not the case. Look, they do dig into the soil. Let's watch the scrubwren go fishing. He will dip his bill into the water, flick at the water. You can't see much at this point, but the mosquito larvae on the surface are flicked up to where he directs it, in this case onto a rock, and then a bit of burnt out wood where he salvages the mosquito wrigglers. Most of the feeding for the scrubwren is done on the ground. They will constantly be moving litter and looking for something that's edible underneath. Moving in the water can range up to about 700 metres altitude, we find this little ripper. Look at that large bill. Bigger than the white-browed scrubwren. And yes, it is also a scrubwren. This is the large-billed scrubwren. Here he is in the canopy about 6 metres above the ground. This is where he feeds by gleaning. The large bill spends much more time in the canopy feeding than on the ground. Fortunately again, this little bird does like to come to a water point for a bath, and this is where we will film the large-billed scrubwren. Population with the scrubwrens is an act that takes less than a second. And unlike the white-browed scrubwren, the large-billed has no sexual dimorphism. Male and female look the same. The only difference that I can find with this bird over the year is that in the breeding mode, as it comes towards summer, the head becomes far more intense with a rufous colouring. They do like a bath, but are never high divers like the honeyeaters, always coming in at a low level to the water. Here now is a GoPro shot. Notice that when the large-billed scrubwren is dry, he has a smooth appearance, a little like the godwits, where the black-tailed godwit has a smooth look, whereas the bar-tailed godwit has a more ruffled appearance. This video was taken in November. The large bill here has more rufous colouring on the head than usual. I suspect this reflects breeding mode. The staccato stop-start movements of the scrubwren is also seen in the large-billed bird. The large-billed is perhaps my favourite scrubwren. The reason for this are the large eyes. It always has that puppy dog appearance. One can't help but fall in love with it. Just watch as another acanthozide, a thornbill, comes up and perches next to this bird. The scrubwrens are the largest of the acanthozide. As you can see, I have had various water points where the large-billed scrubwren has been photographed or videoed. And unlike the white-browed scrubwren, I have never seen this bird go fishing for tadpoles or mosquito larvae. And often around these water points, the birds look for insects. But I have never seen the large-billed eat insects off the ground at these water points. It is far more a canopy feeder than any of the other scrubwrens. Hear that chatter again? Another e-zitt. This is a scrubwren. Here we are still in the Wattigan Range, and look at this magnificent little scrubwren. Here's the yellow bird, the yellow-throated scrubwren. This is the male with the Zorro look, and like the white brow, the male and the female can be separated because of the thickness of the brow and the darkness of the face, with more contrast being seen in the male. Here is the female. Note that the face is more brown than black. And a shared commonality with all the scrubwrens is that they all like a bath. Back to a male bird. The yellow-throated scrubwren is predominantly a ground feeder, feeding on the litter. This is in total contrast to the large bill, which feeds predominantly off the canopy. Behaviour is more like the white-browed scrubwren, but it doesn't really go up into the canopy for feeding. As you have seen, I have photographed 3 scrubwrens at one site, and these birds can coexist because they have different territories in which they feed. Ah, the face. Not so dark. This is a female. Then the male again for comparison. To finish off, I'm going to take you to the Atherton tablelands, and here we have an Atherton scrubwren, very much like a large bill, and in WA, the spotted scrubwren. The spotted is like a white brow, with a spotted or streaky chest. Initially this was thought to be a subspecies of the white brow, but because of the grey iris, it is a different species and now called the spotted scrubwren. On behalf of Plumes of Oz, thank you for watching this video. If you would like to subscribe to further releases of Australian birds in the wild, please hit the P button for Plumes of Oz.